Let us pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness has appointed the office of leaders in the county assemblies for the welfare of the society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with abundant favors as your servants whom you have been pleased to call the performance of important tasks in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests we are committed to our charge. Amen. Clerk, confirm whether we have the quorum to transact business today.
We have the quorum.
Then please proceed to read the orders of the day.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Homa-Bay County Assembly, Third Assembly, First Session, orders of the day. Wednesday, 30th November 2022 at 9:30 a.m. Order of business. Order number 1, administration of oath.
Proceed.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Proceed.
Order number 3, messages.
Proceed.
Order number 4, petitions.
Proceed.
Order number 5, papers.
Proceed.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Leader of majority. Proceed. Leader of majority.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, today, 30th November of this year, I want to give a very, very important notice of a motion. Mr. Speaker, aware that the County Assemblies Forum is the coordinating body of the 47 county assemblies in Kenya, and whose primary mandate is to promote networking and strategy among the 47 county assemblies, coordinate intergovernmental relations, and enhance good practice in legislative development. Whereas County Assemblies Forum draw the attention of the National Parliament of Kenya to the following: that aware that the Constitution of Kenya under Article 37 and 119 and Standing Order 219 of the National Assembly, Standing Orders, provide the right for citizens to petition authorities or Parliament to consider any matter within its authority, including to enact, amend, or repeal any legislation. That aware that pursuant to Article 256 of the Constitution of Kenya, the Honorable Stephen Mule, MP, and the Honorable Gichimu Githinji, MP, have presented a legislative proposal before the National Assembly to amend Article 204 of the Constitution of Kenya through a parliamentary initiative in order to entrench, Mr. Speaker, the National Government Constituencies Development Fund, National Government Affirmative Action Fund, the Senate Oversight Fund, and the Economic Stimulus and Empowerment Fund in the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, now therefore, your humble petitioners pray that the National Assembly intervenes and ensures that the County Wards Equitable Development Fund be incorporated in the proposed constitutional amendment bill before the National Assembly by Honorable Stephen Mule, MP, and Honorable Gichimu Githinji, MP, alongside other proposed funds, namely the National Government Constituency Development Fund, National Government Affirmative Action Fund, the Senate Oversight Fund, and the Economic Stimulus and Empowerment Fund, either prior to the publication of the said bill or before it is referred to the Senate in accordance with the rules of procedure of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, that the proposed constitutional amendment bill in amending Article 204 of the Constitution should provide for the following with respect to the County Wards Equitable Development Fund. That each county government shall allocate funds comprising of a certain percentage of the respective total county's annual budget estimates, or as shall be advised by the Commission on Revenue Allocation during the enactment of the County Allocation of Revenue Act to cater for County Wards Equitable Development Fund. That all monies allocated to County Wards Equitable Development Fund shall be considered as funds allocated to wards pursuant to Article 206, 2C, to be administered in accordance with the provisions of an Act of Parliament, and that Parliament shall enact a legislation to provide for the administration of the County Wards Equitable Development Fund. Mr. Speaker, I beg to give the notice.
Well done, Leader Majority. Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Next order.
Order number 8, bill, the Homa-Bay County Finance Bill 2022, first reading.
Honourable members, I would want to amend the order paper to read communications. Communication number 37 of 2022 on the Homa-Bay County Finance Bill 2022. Honourable members, on the 29th day of November 2022, the Office of the Speaker received the Homa-Bay County Finance Bill 2022 sponsored by Honourable Kakiri Boaz Kiri. All members, the bill is an act of Homa-Bay County Assembly to provide for taxation, imposition of fees and charges for services and other revenue-raising measures for the county government, to amend existing county revenue laws, and for matters incidental thereto. Honourable members, the bill having been read the first time pursuant to provisions of Standing Order number 120, I therefore commit this bill to the Committee on Finance, Economic Planning to conduct public participation and present the report to the County Assembly within 20 days in consonance with the Standing Order number 121, 4, and Article 10, Sub-Article 2A, Article 174C, and Article 196(1) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, and Section 87 of the County Government Act of 2012. Thank you. Chair, Finance, Economic Planning. Your job is cut here. The Vice Chair. Members, I need to inform you that in the public gallery of the County Assembly of Homa-Bay, today, because of the issues that we are discussing, we have visitors from the Bunge La Mwanchi of Homa-Bay, led by the Speaker, of the Bunge La Mwanchi, Mr. Walter Opeyo. I believe is there. Mr. Walter Opeyo, can you please wave? And he is accompanied by his cabinet. And the names of his cabinet are Mr. Samuel Gecharo, Mrs. Elizabeth Adhiambo, Marceline Atieno, Brandy Opeyo, John Omolo, Judith Atieno, Shadrach Omolo, Nora Kini, Michael Koja, and last but not least, David Oluoch. These are the cabinet of the Bunge La Mwanchi of Homa-Bay. These are the civil societies running the affairs of the members of the public in the entire Homa-Bay County. Can you please stand at a wave so that members can see you? Yeah, thank you. And we also, in the presence of the members of the Fourth Estate, several media houses have come to cover us live. We have Kenya News Agency, we have Sky FM, we have Victoria FM, we have Dala FM, we have Mayenga, we have Gaf FM, we have Standard News, and Ramogi TV and Ramogi Radio. Where are the members of the media houses? Yeah, you feel most welcome. Thank you. Next order.
Order number 9, motion, Equitable Ward Development Fund.
Leader majority.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on a light note, your colleague, the Speaker, Bunge La Mwanchi,
to entrench the County Wards Equitable Development Fund alongside the other proposed equity funds in the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, that whereas under the rules of procedure of Parliament, a bill to amend the Constitution must be considered by both houses of Parliament, having realized the requisite constitutional thresholds, it is prudent that before the National Assembly either considers or refers the proposed constitutional amendment bill to the Senate, the proponents of the bill or the National Assembly first incorporates the County Wards Equitable Development Fund in the proposed law. Mr. Speaker, and whereas all the matters in respect of which this petition is raised are not pending before any court of law or constitutional body, and the efforts by both the 47 county assemblies and the Senate to establish the County Wards Equitable Development Fund by way of legislation have been unsuccessful for reasons stated here. Mr. Speaker, now therefore, your humble petitioners pray that the National Assembly intervenes and ensures that the County Ward Equitable Development Fund be incorporated in the proposed constitutional amendment bill before the National Assembly by the Honorable Stephen Mule and Honorable Gijimu Githinji, alongside other proposed funds, namely the National Government Constituencies Development Fund, the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, the Senate Oversight Fund, and the Economic Stimulus and Empowerment Fund, either prior to the publication of the same bill or before it is referred to the Senate in accordance with the rules of procedure of the Parliament. Mr. Speaker, on number 2, that the proposed constitutional amendment bill in amending Article 204 of the Constitution should provide for the following with respect to County Wards Equitable Development Fund. Mr. Speaker, that each county government shall allocate funds comprising of a certain percentage of the respective total county's annual budget estimates, or as shall be advised by the CRA during the enactment of the County Allocation of Revenue Act to cater for the County Wards Equitable Development Fund. On number 2, Mr. Speaker and honorable members, that all monies allocated to County Wards Equitable Development Fund shall be considered as funds allocated to wards pursuant to Article 206, 2C, to be administered in accordance with the provisions of an Act of Parliament. And the last one, Mr. Speaker and honorable members, that Parliament shall enact a legislation to provide for the administration of the County Wards Equitable Development Fund. Mr. Speaker, I want to plead with all the honorable members seated in this House today that this motion has been tabled in all the 47 county assemblies, Mr. Speaker. And I want to request all the members of this House that this is going to benefit members living in this county very directly. If all the 40 wards will be given this Ward Development Fund, Mr. Speaker, then I'm very sure development we never cry about development again. And that is why I want to believe in the honorable members. I've been in this House since 2013. I can remember in 2014 we had a petition, we had a similar motion, but it was not in form of a petition to the National Assembly. We wanted a Ward Development Fund, but the one which is not enacted in the law. But today, Mr. Speaker, our colleagues in the Parliament are also fighting to change the constitution so that the Constituency Development Fund be enacted, be part of the laws of this republic. So before it is done, Mr. Speaker, we also want this, because while changing the constitution, Mr. Speaker, it will pass through our county assembly. But if even senators are given something for the oversight role, members of parliament, their constituencies will benefit. We are also not lesser beings, Mr. Speaker, in this republic. We are elected by the people, and we demand that our votes go to business and money for development. And Mr. Speaker, I want to beg to move, and I'm requesting Honorable Ogondo, who is the Chief Whip Majority, to second this motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, from the onset, I stand up to second the motion. Honorable Speaker, this motion of Equitable World Development Fund is of essence to us as a nation at this hour. Honorable Speaker, Article 37 and 119 of Constitution of Kenya 2010 and Standing Order number 219 of the National Assembly, Honorable Speaker, provides for the right of a citizen to petition the Parliament or any authority to enact, to amend, or to do repeal on any legislation, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it's in this wisdom that the CAF, that is the coordinating body of our assemblies, Honorable Speaker, saw it fit for the assemblies to petition the Parliament, Honorable Speaker, to consider this petition, Honorable Speaker. We are aware that through the Article 256 initiative, Honorable Speaker, and through this initiative, Honorable Speaker, they wanted to amend the NGCD, and in this, Honorable Speaker, MCS, Honorable Speakers, have got the same laws, Honorable Speaker, as the MPs and as the Senate, Honorable Speaker. We are the people representative, we represent people, Honorable Speaker. We do legislation, Honorable Speaker, and we do oversight role. And if there's anything that we have to do, Honorable Speaker, then I think it's of a sense that we go together as a nation. Honorable Speaker, through this fund, the nation will realize equity and acceleration in development, Honorable Speaker. Equity and acceleration in development, Honorable Speaker. Through this fund, Honorable Speaker, the citizens will have to participate in identifying the priorities, Honorable Speaker. And through this fund, Honorable Speaker, decentralization of funds will come back to the common man and everything will be developed, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, with all this, Honorable Speaker, I stand to second. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The leader of majority of Richard Ogindo and the Whip for moving the motion and second it appropriately. I now therefore propose the question that the County World Equitable Development Fund be incorporated in the proposed constitutional amendment bill before the National Assembly by the Honorable Stephen Mule MP and Honorable Timo Gidingi MP, alongside other proposed funds, namely the National Government Constitutional Development Fund, the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, the Senate Oversight Fund, and the Economic Stimulus and the Empowerment Fund, either prior to the publication of the said bill or before it is referred to the Senate in accordance with the rules and procedures of Parliament. And that the proposed constitutional amendment bill in amending Article 204 of the Constitution should provide for the following with respect to the County World Equitable Development Fund. A, that each county government shall allocate funds comprising of a certain percentage of respective total counties' annual budget estimates, or as shall be advised by the Commission on Revenue Allocation
that is CRA, during the enactment of the County Allocation of Revenue Act to cater for County Ward Development Equitable Fund. B, that all monies allocated to County Ward Equitable Development Fund shall be considered as funds allocated to wards pursuant to Article 206. Sub 2C, to be administered in accordance with the provisions of the Act of an Act of Parliament, and that the Parliament shall enact a legislation to provide for the administration of the County Ward Equitable Development Fund. The question is proposed, and I expect a very robust debate on this. Thank you. Honorable Sophie Salim, the MC for Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, from the outset, allow me to congratulate the Majority Leader for moving the motion properly, and even congratulate the Whip Majority for his secondment to this motion. Mr. Speaker, if there is anything that is directly touching onto the welfare of our well-being and the welfare of the electorates of our county, it is this motion, Mr. Speaker, sir. And I want to say categorically that I'm in support of this kind of amendment to be enacted by the National Assembly, and to ensure that we, the people, also get our share to make us enjoy the title honorable, as we can also make serious decisions when it comes to development of our wards. Mr. Speaker, you will come to realize that this one will touch each and every corner of this county and of the country. Mr. Speaker, if there is anything that we must support, it is this motion and the bill to be amended. Because we cannot be beggars throughout. We cannot be relying on sympathy to develop our wards. And remember the statement, and this is why I'm in full support: equitable, county ward equitable development fund. Meaning, when it is passed, there is no ward that will remain without realizing any kind of development you ask for. And when it is captured, it means that we won't be walking around the offices, even to the governor's office, asking for sympathy funds to go and develop our wards. But it will be as requirement, and we will have to demand. Mr. Speaker, when this amendment is made to this Article 204 of our Constitution, then they place the county ward equitable development fund, then it becomes part of law. And therefore, with or without, even we people in this honorable house, the development will be carried out, and any other citizen elected in this position will be in a position to carry out the development that is expected of him or of her. Mr. Speaker, I'm in great support of this bill to be amended, and our right of the Ward Development Fund be included as early as yesterday. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Sophie. My only worry is that whether the members will also listen to you. Honorable Mono Florida.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, my colleagues. I want to take this opportunity to thank our Majority Leader, the Majority Whip, and more particularly the GAF body that has tackled this particular motion to our county assemblies. From the beginning, the Majority Leader told us that this kind of motion is going on today in all the 47 assemblies. And I want to say that we are not going to be exceptional in passing this particular motion. It is a very, very fundamental motion that I believe every member in this particular house, this very important August house, will consider very, very pertinent. For a long time, we have been left without any funds to make us move around in our wards. We have been left like beggars. We have been left to at least live on some particular departments in order to get what to take to our electorates. But I want to say that should this bill go through, we are going to be seen as people. It's like it is a routine in the national issues that each and every elected slot has at least some funds to take them back to their electorates. My colleagues have talked of GAF, they have talked of CDF, they have talked of the money that is given to the Senate for their oversight. How about the NCS? How about us? I believe should we fail to take this motion through, then our electorates are really going to blame us. This is the only fund that is going to accelerate development in our wards. And that is exactly what everybody here is yearning for. That is exactly what all the electorates are waiting for. So I want to say, my colleagues, without much ado, without talking a lot, let us pass this motion so that we also have something to take us back to our electorates. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and my colleagues in the House.
Well done, Professor Neil. Honorable DP Speaker. Request.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. First of all, I want to take this humble opportunity to thank our majority leader for moving the motion with a lot of wisdom and ability. On the onset, I want to rise to support the enactment of this bill into the Constitution. Any country which forgets history cannot grow. Before 2010 Constitution, the development of this country was at the mercy of the executive at the national level. This is the reason why Kenyans who had foresight came up to fight for the space of evolution in this country. And many of our people lost their lives because when change comes, most people do not accept it. So it is a journey which began in 2010, in 2013, still going on. And we will consider this journey to have been fulfilled if only the County Wards Equitable Funds Development Fund is enacted. And that is where we are today. And I'm appealing to these members to the members of this county assembly that we are completing this journey today to ensure that our electorates at the ward get the services that they deserve. Remember, every morning when you are at home, you have over 10 visitors in the name of electorate. There are those who need school fees. There are those who need money for their hospital bills. There are those who need money for hunger. And if other sectors are considered like CDF, like Senate, like GAF, we being on the ground should also be considered as well to ensure that the needs of our electorates are fulfilled. During our campaigns, we made a lot of promises to our constituents in the ward. We promised them good roads. You cannot make good roads without funds. We promised them safe drinking water. This can only be achieved if you have funds. We promised them youth and 5 years CPR funds, they will see tangible development on the ground. And if the captivity of Gonya inputs, because when members of the world,
Special Elected Lady.
Asante sana Bwana Spika. Kwanza kabisa nitamshukuru kiongozi wa walio wengi Mheshimiwa Ogindo kwa kuleta mada lenye maana sana. Hili mada linaongea juu ya usawa wa mifuko ya kata. Hili mifuko ya kata tukilipitia hapa litaweza kurahisisha maisha ya wanadamu au mwananchi kisiasa, kiuchumi au kimaisha. Kisiasa litaweza kumaliza vita kati ya wananchi na viongozi wao. Kiuchumi litaweza kurahisisha mwananchi kupata barabara nzuri na kupata soko nzuri kupitia hili mfuko ya kata. Kimaisha litaweza kurahisisha vijana ili wapate mapato yao. Vile vile wamama watakuwa na mapato yao, na tena kulingana na hali ya usalama litaweza kuleta karibu stesheni za polisi na vile vile ambulensi katika wodi, na wananchi pia watakuwa na ukaribu sana kukuwa na viongozi ambao waliwachagua kwa haraka sana. Ningependa niwahimize waheshimiwa wenzangu ya kuwa tuiunge mkono hili mada ili lipitishwe leo bila kupoteza wakati. Ni hayo tu kwa sasa.
Thank you, Honorable Honorary Komodo, the MCA for Homa-Bay Eastward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, I want to appreciate the majority leader for coming up with this motion in this assembly. We know very well that World Development Fund is not anchored in our Constitution and Public Finance Management Act. And generally, this situation has put so many county governments at loggerheads with control of budget, who each time refuse to even approve the county budget. So this World Development Fund is of great essence or importance to the residents that we represent here and to the honorable members of the county assemblies countrywide. We have received a lot of public incitements on matters to do with development. And you find most of the times, MCAs are set or as used as a trap to escape, especially by the National Assembly leaders. You will find they can come on the ground and incite members of the county assemblies or public meeting that if you need any development project, kindly go and ask your area MCA. And I believe this has really caused a lot of problems to the honorable members and even people whom we represent. So without fear or contradiction, we need to ensure that World Development Fund is anchored in our Constitution so that we are able to divert projects, or we shall be able to avoid diversion of projects that are meant to develop wards by the controller, by the budget, by the controller of budget. And I am of the opinion, I believe this is the rights of members and residents whom we represent. World Development Fund should be anchored in our Constitution, and we do not beg for it. It is our right as members to ensure that development projects are trickled down at various wards. We have different wards with different needs, and if this bill can be anchored in our Constitution, then it shall be very easy for members of county assemblies and even our residents to ensure that the implementation of the priority projects award are done. So I would urge each member of this county assembly to support the move to amend this part of the Constitution so that World Development Fund can be incorporated. Aside from the conflicts that I've mentioned that surrounds the World Development Fund, the idea behind Ward Development Fund is to assist the counties to implement projects, specific projects at ward level. And I don't know whether I can answer because I believe they should go on.
Please proceed. Your answer.
Yes, there's not so much difference between the National Constituency Development Fund and the Ward Development Fund. So I believe that this Ward Development Fund should be incorporated in our constitution without begging. And I believe this honorable house will pass or approve such a request. Otherwise, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Eric, for the good debate. Honorable Daniel Odongo, the MCA for North California Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to take this opportunity to thank our majority leader for seeing concern that the petition that has been served in the other 46 county assemblies, Homa-Bay County, also should be one of them. Mr. Speaker, sir, the CAF this time has done a very good thing. It is under their mandate, and they have seen into it that this time when there's going to be an amendment to Article 204, because the NECDF fund was ruled recently that it is unconstitutional. By now they are going to do a unified amendment, and the county assemblies are now going to form part of that amendment, such that our request to be part of that amendment is included. We are all going to benefit as a county and as residents of Homa-Bay County. Mr. Speaker, when we look at the operations of the county government, currently there has been a lot of complaint of the centralized procurement. This is because we don't have money that is paid our wards. But by now, we are going to have this money, and our wards are going to have their normal committees that is going to be well governed. Because in the amendment, I've also seen that in Article 206 is going to provide an act which will help in the administration. And in administering this fund, you are going to find that they are going to entail all the processes on how this money is going to be spent. Mr. Speaker, as County Assembly of Homa-Bay, the members here are very attentive today because they are out of what is of their interest and the interest of residents of Homa-Bay. Members, let us be rest assured now, will have the ability when the money is going to be there. During annual budget, it is stated well that the county government shall allocate money for each and every ward as advised by the CRA. So we are going to get money under County Ward Development Fund to develop our wards. In our wards, we have different priorities. There are wards that need water, others need roads, others need good facilities of health. But when we get this money and we do our proper public participation, like what was done in Homa-Bay recently, that inclusive one, that we embraced like that, please, we are going to get good time to spend this money. I know we'll have very competent committees because it is enshrined in the act that will be done also by the parliament, so there will be no misuse. It has been also complained by the public when that money is given towards some think that MCS are going to be the beneficiaries in their welfare, which of course is not the case. We are here to represent the people, we are here to represent the electorate. We have the mandate to ensure that all is meant to them are given to the electorate accordingly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Well done, Honorable. Honorable Jessica, Special Elected Lady from Kabondo Sub-County, please. Request.
very much, Speaker, for seeing me. I've struggled for a long time to get my answer on fire. Mr. Speaker, first I want to congratulate the Majority Leader for having come up with this motion, because it is an eminent one. We have waited for it for a long time, Mr. Speaker, and now it is time it has come. Thank you very much, Mr. Majority Leader, for this, and thank you all the members, those who have talked. You have all supported the amendment of this bill to be put in our Constitution. Mr. Speaker, I realize that as we have been longing to see the MCAs working effectively for the people whom they represent, it has come true that not only the MCAs were seeing it, but even the other bodies were also seeing it to come up. We must thank our CAF very much, the representative of the MCAs, because they have worked tirelessly. It is something that has been discussed for quite some time. But now, since even our senior legislators, the MPs, the national legislators, have also realized that when now they were going to be denied the fact of getting their funds for the people of the constituencies, now they have realized, Mr. Speaker, the MCAs, the elected MCAs have really suffered. I'm talking about this because I've also tried to be elected twice, and the promises that I've been giving the people of my ward, or the ward I was vying to represent, are just the same with the same promises the national leaders are also giving. But Mr. Speaker, there's also something that maybe people have not looked into it keenly. That the MCAs are the people who are very close to the members of the society. And when something is going wrong, or when there's a development that is not being realized, the first person to be asked is a member of County Assembly. And it has been pathetic, Mr. Speaker, because we get no answers to our people. Because you find that when the budget is being worked on, Mr. Speaker, the developments that are supposed to be carried out are budgeted for. But when it comes to the realization or the implementation, Mr. Speaker, these developments don't come to be. Mr. Speaker, to talk to their people, when the public participation is done and we have realized that what the people want, we will manage to give the people what they want in form of development. Mr. Speaker, I stand here to support the amendment fully, because I know it will help us to work for our people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, and then Honorable Dr. Kochola. Honorable Florence Ouma, please take the floor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. From the onset, I rise to support the motion brought forth by the Majority Leader. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the spirit of devolution, we find that all components, most of the components that were devolved, the only one that was excluded was this World Development Fund. So it is in order that the representatives in this honorable house have a responsibility added to those that have been given, so that they feel, the people feel the breath of devolution at the doorstep. So that when citizens ask an MCA, how about this? The only answer that the MCA will have that, you see, mine is not to do this, I will speak to the government. But if this is enacted, then it will fall directly under the responsibility of the MCA. On top of what my other colleagues have said, I rise to support. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Honorable Samuel Yeta, the MCA for West Etno. I've seen. Please request.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've reason to actually appreciate the honor, and I see in him that he is honorable indeed, honorable majority leader. Having brought this, I would like to remind members who are here today, we are leaders. But before this, before we came here, we were politicians. We were campaigning, giving pledges, assurances, which in most cases for those members who are here elected, you are listened to and had an opportunity, me included. Politics and development are partners in succession. But politics being dirty, this is where we find ourselves. That we have seen in the past, and even in the current constitution, where other levels, higher than this, but also assembly, have development funds. But when it comes to the ward, the county assemblies, the wards do not have development fund. That actually shows that there is no equity. At this point in time, I believe that Parliament should see it prudent to include and entrench this bill, Mr. Speaker, this amendment, to allow the County Ward Equity Development Fund to be in the Constitution so that we may be able to allow wananchi to participate fully in developments in the ward when we have this fund. We were doing public participation most recently for CIDP. And before you do CIDP to tell somebody what you intend to do, you ask that person, they will ask you in the previous parliament, assembly, what have you done in the previous years? The level at which you see this content is actually very bad, because when you tell somebody this was supposed to have been done and it was not done because funds were not available, it's disheartening for an electorate. So if we have equitable ward development fund, we will be able to implement all the activities that the people have decided to be implemented. In the past, we have also seen mutilation of the provisions, where in the first assembly, you realize that even the employees of the county assembly who are helping the MCAs to run were 10 in the first assembly. In the second assembly, this was reduced to 5. An appeal was made, it was taken to 7 employees. Currently, this third assembly has only 3 employees by MCA.
Honorable member, I want to write, just sit down as we debate. On matters as pertains to the number of employees that were given to the members of the county assembly in the previous assemblies. Let's proceed.
I'm guided. Currently there are 3. If this is not entrenched in the Constitution so that we have a fund to allow you run the ward perfectly, then justice and equity will not be realized. I would like to appeal that we support this motion so that we may have the equitable ward development fund to help us realize and assure our wananchi that what we have come to do here is to ensure that they get development to the latter as promised. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well done. Honorable Yeta. Honorable Boaz Kakiri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a matter of importance. When we talk of equitable ward development fund, this is not a matter of an MCA. This on 9th August 2022. The electorates had great hopes in the people they were electing. when we were going for the election, the members of the public elected a president, we elected a governor, we elected an MP, we elected a senator, and we elected a woman rep, where we MCAs were also elected on the same day. Mr. Speaker, the members of the public do expect all those that they elected to at least initiate a project or to represent them in the houses of legislation. But Mr. Speaker, after election you get to realize that your independence is denied because when you are campaigning, you promised development. But now when you come to the assembly, you are restricted to oversight, legislation, and representation. But when you go back home every evening, you find people asking you of roads. You find people asking you of hospitals. So you as a member, you get to be divided either to represent the executive at the assembly or to represent your people and legislate at the assembly. It is therefore very important, Mr. Speaker, that as we debate this should not be an issue of awarding MCS money. It should not be an issue of awarding MCS money to one campaign. It is an issue or a fund that is going to enable MCS to be independent when we are in the House, knowing very well that whether I stand independently in this House, still money will be going to come forward. When I get to question the Minister for Finance, still there will be development in Yayuera. When I get to question the Minister for Roads, still there will be a bridge going to Congo. Mr. Speaker, it is time. If what is good for the goose should also be good for the gander. Here we are, Mr. Speaker. MPs have CDF. Senators want oversight fund. Women want their GAP. President has his money. Governor has his money. And you are six, Mr. Speaker, who is now being left behind. It is only the MC that is not going to have money to develop this work. And when we go to the election, we are going to be made now again to stick into projects that are done by others, which of course sometimes we ourselves did not even have a hand in. Mr. Speaker, in our budget, even the county assembly, the county of Homa-Bay, we are all aware that recently we passed a bill, and indeed there was one development fund. But the funding of the project that we enlisted in the budget as MCS for our wards entirely depends on your relationship with the governor. It entirely depends on your relationship with the executive. It therefore means that if a member from Canada, we don't know about what is Canada, but we have Canada in Homa-Bay. But if Mheshimiwa from Homa-Bay West, that is Canada, get to develop his ward and get to have a good relationship with the CEC water because he failed to ask a question where was he seeing water project in local project that was funded, money executed, and no project done. But then because he supported and never questioned, he gets to have a project, and my ward gets not to have a project. The members of the public will be now seeing Mheshimiwa, who is now not doing his legislative law in the assembly, to be development conscious, and while he is struggling to legislate, to represent, and to oversight, is being told, go home. So, Mr. Speaker, it is now or never. In this, we must make it right, honorable members. If MPs are to pass the law on NTCDF Act, they must also make sure that indeed we have the law for MCs. If women are going to vote for GAP, they must make sure that MCS have the answer.
What's the point of order? Just a moment. Honorable Minister Milka, what's the point of order? Just request. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this time. For but please contribute. I'm standing order number 91. From the look of the things, I'm seeing that this debate is fully exhausted, and the members are really for it. And I stand to say that, can we enact it? And we call it, I call the mover.
So who is seconding you?
Honorable Susan.
Honorable members, mine is referee. Honorable Melka Oron rising on standing order number 91 that to her the motion is exhausted and that she has been ably seconded by Honorable Susan Onyango, the MCA, senior member for Suba South, that the motion is exhausted. We call upon the mover to reply. Will as many as of the civil opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. Honourable members, I want honourable boards, I sympathize with you. But allow me to call the leader of majority to respond, move, and respond to certain issues that have been raised, more particularly on the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first allow me to thank all the honorable members who have debated and those who are waiting to debate for a full debate, Mr. Speaker. It is like when you put in a question, this motion will pass unanimously. Honorable members, we are all aware that during elections, and I want to agree with what Honorable was said, we were 6 at the ballot. And Mr. Speaker, it is true that His Excellency the President has a role check. Mr. Speaker, the governor and the deputy also assented that we all depend on. But Mr. Speaker, members, our brothers and sisters, I don't know whether to call them our big brothers, but it is true they are our big brothers from the Senate and the National Assembly, have seen a fate that they should get some funds. One, for MPs to develop their constituencies, and two, for Senate and senators to do their oversight around well. And Mr. Speaker, for honorable members who are the MCAs, MPs will always come to their homes, maybe once in one weekend in a month. But MCAs will always be at their wards. Mr. Speaker, not less than 20 days in a month. And most of the MCAs commute from their homes. So every day, the electorates will find them at their homes. But it is true. Mr. Speaker, if we had time and we could give each MCA to testify about this, Mr. Speaker, it is true that every day the number of calls that a single MCA receives, even the number of people that visit all the members at their homes, Mr. Speaker, they don't carry goods or maybe some bread in your home. Mr. Speaker, most of these people come hoping that the honorable members would help them solve their problems. So, Mr. Speaker, at times it becomes very hard for the honorable members of county assemblies, not only from Homa-Bay County Assembly, but all over in all our 47 county assemblies. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for moderating this debate well. And I want to plead, before I plead with them, let me also thank our CAF representatives. That is you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, our way. We also have the two members representing us, and we have the PWD representatives and the youth rep. Mr. Speaker, we have our woman rep. The last time they had a meeting, my deputy, the majority leader, Honorable Floretta, represented all the women of this county assembly. And Mr. Speaker, I want to thank them very much for this. Why? Not because of that forum. We would have not achieved this. I call it an achievement because I know for the MPs, senators, and women reps to enact whatever they want to do in too long, it will have to be passed by not less than 27 county assemblies. So it will only see the light of the day if, Mr. Speaker, this one of ours will also be included. I think that is when we'll accept it in all our assemblies. So we should feel great. And Mr. Speaker, lastly, allow me also thank today most sincerely our guests who are from Bunge La Mwanchi. Mr. Speaker, I want to plead with them and request them that our doors are open and they are accepted here all the times, anytime. They should be oversight in this assembly. Not unless, Mr. Speaker, they don't know. Not unless, Mr. Speaker, they need to know that they have a role. But what I know, as far as I'm concerned, I know that they should be oversight in this assembly. So all the times, Mr. Speaker, I also want to thank you for accepting that they attend their numbers. Mr. Speaker, let me also thank all the members of the fourth estate. I want to really them. Today I was listening to one of the media house. We go in county assembly. They debated on the same motion yesterday. But the way it was captured, that honorable members are saying that now because of the water equitable development fund, this is a real campaign and they will get a lot of money. Members did not say that out of this they will get money. This money will benefit very directly, and and there will be a funds manager for this, and members will not be part of that money, will only be oversighted. What we want is that we have something going towards directly. Mr. Speaker, thank you. Thank you very much.
Well done. Well done. I think one of the best moments today in our debates I now put the question. That the County Wards Equitable Development Fund being incorporated in the proposed constitutional amendments bill before the National Assembly by the Honorable Stephen Mule MP and Honorable Ichimi Gidinji MP, alongside other proposed funds, namely the National Government Constitutional Development Fund, in abbreviation NGCDF, the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, GAF, the Senate Oversight Fund, and the Economic Stimulus Empowerment Fund, either prior to the publication of the said bill or before it is referred to the Senate in accordance with the rules of procedures in Parliament. And that the proposed constitutional amendment bill in amending Article 204 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 should provide for the following with respect to the County Wards Equitable Development Fund. A, that each county government shall allocate funds comprising of certain percentage of the respective total council's annual budget estimates, or as shall be advised by the Commission of Revenue Allocation, that is CRA, during the enactment of the County Allocation Revenue Act to cater for the County Ward Equitable Development Fund. B, that all monies allocated to the County Ward Equitable Development Fund shall be considered as funds allocated to wards pursuant to the Article 206, 2, C, to be administered in accordance with the provisions of Act of Parliament, and that the Parliament shall enact a legislation to provide for the administration of the County Ward Equitable Development Fund. Therefore, will as many as of the similar opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the court of opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 10, adjournment.
All members, this House stands adjourned today, Wednesday, 30th November 2022 at 2:30 p.m.